I know this is going to sound weird, but success is actually a trap. And if you're not careful, you'll fall right in. And let me tell you, if you do, it can be very hard to get out. Now, I'm going to tell you about the exact moment that I realized I had fallen into that trap and how, thank God, I got out before it was too late. Now, obviously, success is something that we all strive for. We fight hard for it. We work our entire lives to attain it. So, how can it be a trap? Well, I'm going to tell you. You see, for me, in the beginning, success felt like freedom. Like I had finally arrived, and for the first time, I could breathe. It was like all of those years of grinding and doubting myself had finally paid off. And I remember feeling this kind of wave of momentum that I had never felt before. And it was incredible. I was getting attention. I was getting opportunities. It just seemed like my entire world had opened up. And then obviously the money. The money was something that I was, hoping for, but I had struggled for so long that it just seemed like an impossible dream. And then all of a sudden I had it. And I'm not going to lie, it was awesome. So that all sounds great. I know it does. But then something changed. I had found the trap. Or the trap had found me. Now, looking back on it now, I can see it very clearly. Success didn't just elevate me, it started shaping me, and not in a good way. I had become this version of myself that people expected. I expected. I had a certain sound, a certain energy, a certain look, and I knew the machine was running, and it was running on very specific fuel. And if I didn't give it that exact fuel, I risked the whole thing kind of stalling out. So I just stayed in character all the time. And I lived this way for many years. I wore those golden handcuffs. I convinced myself that I was happy. But I don't think I was. And I didn't even realize how much that was eating away at me. Now, don't get me wrong. I had an amazing career, and I am deeply grateful for the success that I achieved. And if you're in a position where you love what you're doing and you love the person that it allows you to be, then I would never suggest that you change course. You're living the dream, and you should keep on enjoying it. But if you felt the teeth of that trap closing in on you like I did, well, then you need to hear this next story, because it's about the very moment when everything in my life changed. So we were about halfway through what ultimately became the last tour that me and my band 6 a.m. ever did. We had just played a show at this outdoor arena, and we had had a great set. It was the end of the night, and we were all packing up and getting loaded on the bus. And out of the corner of my eye, I catch a glimpse of a woman standing behind the barriers. And she was very enthusiastically waving at me and signaling for me to come over to her. Now, it wasn't in a crazy aggressive way, but just in a very hopeful way. So I set my stuff down and I walked over to her. And as I approached her, you could just, you could see the hopefulness turn into like sheer excitement. She was genuinely thrilled, literally jumping up and down. So when I got up to her, I reached through the chain link fence and she kind of grabbed my fingers because, I couldn't fit my whole hand through the chain link fence. So she basically shook my fingers in lieu of being able to shake my hand. It was pretty awkward, but very sweet. And the poor dear was in tears. I think partly out of nerves, but also because, as I learned, she was just carrying so much emotion inside of her that she just couldn't contain herself. And she held out her arm to show me this huge, amazing tattoo of "Life is Beautiful" on her arm. Now, for those of you that don't know, "Life is Beautiful" was one of my band 6am's biggest hit songs. It was really the song that put us on the map. Anyway, she tells me this story that literally brought me to tears. She had gotten that tattoo only 3 weeks after her daughter had taken her own life. And she told me she wanted to always remember how beautiful her life was while her daughter was in it. And the way she told this story was just so powerful and painful. How losing her daughter had caused her to basically lose her will to live. I mean, she nearly took her own life. But through sheer strength and faith, she had found a reason to keep waking up every day and to keep breathing in and out and keep moving forward. And as she stood there pouring her heart out to me, I realized I had been on autopilot, not for hours, not even for days or weeks, but for months. I felt like suddenly I was waking up out of a coma. And she was so happy to be speaking with me. She was so grateful that, this guy that had sung this song that meant so much to her was standing there in front of her having a conversation. But in that moment, I have to be honest, I felt like a fraud. I was completely out of touch with what had put me there in the first place. The songs, the music, the message that meant so much to this amazing woman, and I was numb to all of it. I was disconnected. I wasn't numb to her story. I was numb to my story. And I have to tell you, it devastated me. I stood there literally holding back tears. Tears that were in large part brought on because of her incredible story of strength and just overcoming such horrible, horrible pain. But they were also tears of mourning. I was mourning the James that I used to be. Before all of the success, I didn't know who I had become. Or no, I didn't like who I had become. And I realized I used to feel every word I was singing. And now I could barely remember the set that I had just performed 30 minutes before. It had just faded off into the ether, into a blur. Every show, every night, gone. I mean, the contrast of this woman who was feeling every single moment of her life with such deep emotion, with such vivid color. And then there was me, who wasn't feeling any of the moments except that one. I was just going through life completely void of sensation. I was lost. I had lost myself. And that's when I knew it was over. It took meeting this woman to show me that I had lost my way. I needed to start a new journey. A journey back to the James that I used to be, before the success, before the money, before the fame and the attention. And shortly after that night, I made the decision to retire. Not just from 6 a.m. or from touring, but from everything. From producing, from songwriting, from the entire music industry. And let me tell you, I don't miss it. I don't miss the travel. I don't miss the pressure. I don't miss the attention. I mean, I do miss my bandmates, for sure. But we're still great pals. We communicate all the time. But I have no regrets. Not one. And in all of this, I realized something very powerful. And I really want you to think about this. Reinvention is a superpower. You can reinvent yourself anytime. You don't need anyone's permission. Just because you spent years building something doesn't mean you owe your entire life to it. You can build something new for any reason. You can walk away from who you were and just start over. Now, are there going to be challenges? Sure, of course there are. I'm not saying that reinvention is easy. It's not. It wasn't for me. But that's kind of why it's a superpower. Most people don't dare to do it. I mean, most people think that starting over is admitting defeat. But I think starting over means you're alive. Now, the thing about reinvention is it requires you to give yourself permission. Permission to, honestly, to disappoint people. People who loved the old version of you. People who want to keep you in that box because that's how they know you. And that can be hard. Now, what did reinvention look like for me? Well, I moved to a beautiful little city in Northern Ireland called Derry, far away from the hustle and bustle of Los Angeles. And I live here with my amazing partner and my 2 beautiful dogs. And I have to tell you, I am happier than I've ever been. I am truly living my best life. And Derry is just a wonderful place. The people are absolutely lovely. And here's the cool thing. Nobody cares about who I was or what I did or how many records I sold or how many times I reinvented myself. They really just care about one thing. Am I kind? And you know, every once in a while, I think back to that woman standing outside of the concert venue. And I think about her story. And I hope she's doing okay. I hope she's truly happy. But when I think of her, I especially think of how grateful I am because she reminded me of something I had completely forgotten in all of the success and the madness. I had forgotten that life is beautiful. I just needed to pay attention. I think we all need to pay attention. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this today, and if you did, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. And leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much for listening. Take care.